those are select scenes from different places in Argentina, Buenos Aires, Rosario, Mendoza. I'm sure the whole of Argentina, of course, came to a standstill after the team's performance yesterday in the final of the FIFA World Cup. Thank you once again for joining us for the show. My name is Bernard Dong. Well, 172 goals were scored. Yes, 172 goals were scored in the 2022 FIFA World Cup. The most in the tournament's history. Gonzalo Montiel definitely scored the winning penalty for Albiceleste to seal their title. Wakabi, you called it at the beginning of the tournament, but what a wonderful tribute to Diego Maradona.
Yes, Bernard, I tweeted yesterday, I said, it is written. It was Messi's date with destiny. And remember, Diego Armando Maradona was playing for Argentina from above. No way they were going to lose. But in the end, great, great win. Fairy tale ending to a career that most people were wondering, would it end in a fairy tale way, or would it go the Cristiano way? Now Messi's gotten the perfect ending. And in true Kenyan fashion, we've tried to make sure we find our own connection to the World Cup, as removed as it may be. Yes. So we've gone ahead and looked for someone who's got DNA that has been to the World Cup. So yes, with us is Arnold, Origi, of course, former Kenyan international, Kenyan goalkeeping legend, you called him, and a man whose first-class cousin has not only played at the World Cup, but scored a goal at the Maracana. So Arnold Origi is our guest tonight.
Right, and we want you to interact with us as well in the course of this show tonight. And the question we're asking you, Wakabi has just touched on a legend, Lionel Messi. Of course, he has been very central for the Albiceleste. But we're asking you, has that debate, the debate that has been going on online about whether he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, has Lionel Messi's World Cup victory finally settled the greatest of all time debate? What are your thoughts? Share your sentiments at Bernard Ndong, at J Wakabi, at NTV Kenya. And remember, the hashtag to use is spot on. Share your sentiments regarding to that particular question. Right, Wakabi, as always, we always try as much as possible to inform people and tell them about certain special and interesting products that we have on the show. It's the countdown to the Christmas. Of course, we're finished with the World Cup. The focus now shifts to the holiday season. And you have a very nice gadget that I'm envious.
Yes, Bernard, the Flip 4.
Yes.
And remember, we've spoken about it, about colors. And we said, you know, some of the colors, you may not be sure of them. So if you like it in blue, if you like it in graphite, or if you like it in pink gold, I'm sure this should be pink gold. Right. Yeah?
You've improved on your colors.
I'm not colorblind. Yeah, I've tried. Like I said, it's a long way from Richard Oveok gained battle in vain. Eh? But yes, beautiful phone. And not just that, not just the colors you get it, but the first thing about it is that you can fold it. That for me is the first thing. So when you fold it, means it's portable, means it's very, very easy for you to put in your pocket. It means it's very easy for you to carry around with it. And if you like your pictures, you do not need those stands you see people having the selfie sticks. Yeah, you can just place it. Yeah. Once you place it like that, and then you position put a timer, position yourself, works excellently. And then, of course, you talk about the battery. Excellent battery.
Supercharging,
really, really, really good phone. Yes, in less than an hour, you are fully charged, free to go. You can use it all day long until tomorrow. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful form. And just its performance very close to Messi. Or maybe Mbappe. You know, yeah, maybe Mbappe. Young, youth, full of zest. Yes. Really, really, really good. Really, really, really good phone to use.
And enhanced durability as well. And there's also that component. You just talked about it being somewhat like a tripod. But now let's focus on what transpired in Qatar. Let's take a destination trip all the way to the Middle East.
Destination Qatar in association with Samsung.
Right, Wakabi, I think it's important for Arnold to join us tonight and just reflect on what a World Cup. Arnold, what a World Cup. Is this the best ever? That's what most people are saying.
The final, yes. I think the best final in history. Intense, full of drama. Chaotic towards the end. France could have won it with the final kick. So yeah, for me, I think Russia was more exciting, but like the final, without a shadow of a doubt, the best I've seen. Yeah.
And speaking of the final, goalkeepers came into the fore here, and you're a goalkeeper. Emiliano Martinez, a guy who 3 years ago not many knew about. He was a reserve at Arsenal, been there for many years. Just the way he steps up when it comes to crunch. Yeah. What does that say about his personality and the way his talent as a keeper?
Yeah, he's a character. I remember when I was I think it was in 2016. Me and my goalkeeper coach, there's a concept that we believe in, and he's really good at, and that's being in balance before the shot. And me and my goalkeeper coach, we agreed that one day he's gonna be a top keeper. And then the way he's developed, I think he likes or he thrives in those kind of situations. He likes to provoke. I think he was a bit overboard, especially with Chouameni, the penalty.
Yeah.
I think he should have been booked, but like
you're talking about how
he was
acted.
booked. Yeah, he was booked.
Was he booked?
Yeah, because of throwing away the ball.
Yeah, but like. I cannot sit here and be a moral judge. I don't know. Like, it's a World Cup, and I think you in this kind of situation, like you do whatever it takes to bring the cup home, especially if it's the final.
I read somewhere that he looks like he's overboard, but he's not. Yeah. That the former Aston Villa coach was saying, I actually like it when he's like that, when he looks like he's almost boiling over, but he actually is not. It's just the way he hypes himself to do those things. Where do you draw the line? Is there a line to be drawn, or is it winner take all?
I think personally, like as a person, for him to be able to perform, I think he's even me as a coach, I would want him to be that way. But then, when you put on the moral judge hat, like in terms of the sportsmanship, I think sometimes that's a little bit overboard in terms of the sportsmanship. But in terms of hyping yourself up and getting yourself ready to perform under such kind of an environment, because there's an enormous amount of pressure being there, because for example, you saw Alisson, he didn't make one penalty save, and the whole of Brazil was like, he's the worst keeper ever. Right, yeah. So yeah, and it's Argentina, and we all know what that meant for Argentina because of the love they have for Messi. So yeah.
I just have one question before Ndong jumps in. That save in extra time, right, the save with the foot. Yeah. How special was that save from a goalkeeper's point of view?
I think that's one of the most important saves he will ever make in his career. I think it's even important than all the penalty saves that he's made. Because if Colomani scores, then it's done. Yeah, it's done. There's no like, it's the last kick of the ball. So yeah, that was an enormous save. Like, it's a save that's worth the World Cup.
Arnold, I'm interested in finding. I was going to touch on that save as well. It was something special, but I'm interested in understanding the mindset of a goalkeeper, especially when a match is to be decided by penalties. What goes on through your mind? I'm sure you've been in situations whereby it has to be decided via sport kicks. Yeah. How do you, what is the routine? How do you prepare yourself? What goes on through your mind?
Actually, when before the penalty, you've already prepared, because I remember when we played the final in 2017. Before the final, we always go through the videos.
Which final is this? Just
yeah, the Norwegian Cup final.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like the Norwegian FA Cup. Yeah, so before that, like 2 days before the game, when you go through the games with the goalkeeper coach, you look at all the possible penalty takers and where they will shoot, and then you try to imagine, because as a player, you try to shoot to your strongest side under that kind of a pressure. You don't do something different. So he will already have known where almost every France players try to place their penalties. And as a goalkeeper, we always say, you have nothing to lose. So yeah, especially towards the end, if it's 0-0 for me, I would I'd rather skip the extra time and go towards the penalty, because towards the extra time you can make a blunder.
That's the true test of a goalkeeper.
Something can happen and then it's done, but during the penalty spot you have nothing to lose, because it's a shot from 12 yards. So it's a shot from 12. It's a dead ball without any opposition from 12 yards. So as a striker, you're supposed to score. If you miss, then if you even in a game, if you make a save from 12 yards, that's a wonderful save. So if he scores, then fine, it's a good goal. So okay, yeah, as a goalkeeper, you're more relaxed for the penalty because you have nothing to lose. You have everything to win.
In terms of also, if you look at it in terms of how the body language of whoever is coming to kick the ball, what do you look out for specifically? And then, just for people, somebody asked me this question recently and asked, when the penalty is just about to be taken, they notice that the goalkeeper is at the line, and then the moment there's contact between the player's foot and the ball, the goalkeeper moves slightly forward. What is the rule? What is allowed?
Before it was free to do whatever you want, but now at least one foot has to be on the line. And for me, I actually think it's an advantage to the goalkeeper, because but now if we get more technical, I think you you get a chance to like attack the ball. You always like to attack the ball, so you get an angle where the trajectory becomes like more towards the ball. If you step out, you are more flat. But if one foot remains on the line, then you can go a little bit more forward, which makes the goal a little bit makes the goal smaller for the penalty takers. So the rule is always have at least 1 foot on the line. You cannot like before it was you can do whatever you want. You can jump. You can be 2, 3, 4 meters before the penalty before the striker strikes the penalty. But now at least 1 foot has to be on the line.
I've seen keepers who actually stand slightly behind the line now. Almost like they stand behind the line so that when the kicker takes, they take that small step forward that Bernard is saying. So I guess they are compensating because you have to have 1 foot on the line.
And then so 1 foot on the line, and then that also makes you kind of cut the angles, because if this is the goal, if I dive this way, then I have a bigger reach. But if I dive this way, then you see
it's longer.
It's longer. So
also you cut the angle.
Yeah, you cut the angle.
Because the angle, the guy who's shooting, the angle is something like this.
Yeah. So if this is the goal,
yes.
If you dive, if this is the goalkeeper, if you dive like this, then you see how far I come. But if I dive like this, then you see
you cut in the angle.
Yeah. So your reach becomes even bigger.
So this is obviously things that you practice in training scenarios.
Yeah, it's like technique. Like even when you're training, like the low diving, we always like you have to cut the angle. Like with the younger keepers, we always try to have like a cone or a ball. So try and catch the ball before the cone. It just makes the goal a little bit, or increases your reach as a goalkeeper. Yeah.
Deserving champions, Argentina, you think?
Yeah, I think they were. You just see like the intensity in each and every game that I've seen them play. They were up for it from the start. It was like we want this. There was intent. There was desire. There was passion. France, I thought maybe they were affected by the virus that was reported in the camp. They were not the first 1 hour. Actually, it was a surprise. For me, watching the game, I was like, it looked like more. It looked more of a 3-0 than a France comeback. So for me, the France comeback was
something else. Was
a surprise. Argentina was up for it. I think after the loss against Saudi Arabia, it was they've been on. They've been on. And they played. As a player or as a coach, I like that kind of football, like the Liverpool kind of football, the rock and roll. Yeah, like you're there. If you defend, if you give us a finger, then we take the whole body.
Arnold, there's someone who came with had a very interesting suggestion, because you've talked about the French were affected with the issue, the virus that was affected some of the players. Some would say also the concept of fatigue to some extent. I know that is debatable. Somebody was giving a very unique suggestion that perhaps the semi-finals should not be played concurrently, should be played, or rather not one day after the next. It should be played the same day but concurrently. It makes sense, and I agree because like even in the normal league season, a team that plays in the Champions League on Wednesday, for example, like let's say Liverpool plays the Champions League on Wednesday and then goes to United on Sunday. Of course they're gonna struggle, and if it's a good side, then it makes it a dollar. Like the 24 hours makes a huge difference. The 24 hours, just 24 hours, people my eyes are there, but it makes a huge in terms of the recovery. And then the games are being played at 6, so you're probably done at 8, 9. You have to go to the dressing room, you have to shower, then go to the hotel, you have to eat. Probably won't sleep well after the game because of the adrenaline. Then it's on Thursday, just a recovery. Then Friday, and then you have to go again on Saturday. Whereas Argentina, they had a day. So whatever France went through, Argentina had a day to go through that. So yeah, like especially at this level, it's the small details, the small margins that makes the difference.
Let's talk about the passion. Now, it's not often when a coach cries when a player scores a goal. It's not often when Di Maria is in tears when they concede. He's in tears when Messi scores. He's in tears when they concede again. What is it about Argentina and that passion, emotions? What was it about it?
It's a South American thing. I'm a huge fan of football, so especially now that I'm for sure heading towards coaching. I try to like get different ideas, and I've been watching the Argentina Professional League, and they are very passionate. That's number one, and then number two, just the love they have for Messi. You know, they will do whatever it takes, and that's South Americans. You know, just heart in heart. You know, like go full in. And it's been 36 years. They are a big nation. 36 years without winning it, and you know, they felt like, okay, we have to do it now, because I don't know, maybe this is the only time like we're gonna have. 36 years ago, like the previous generation, they had Maradona. So for us, it's like, yeah, this is the only chance for us to have someone maybe like Maradona or close to Maradona. So yeah, if we let this chance pass us by, then maybe we might not be in this kind of situation ever again. So let's. But then if you look at it, they were on form, won the Copa America, and then they got the final against Italy. So they were on form, and then of course there's Messi. You have to do everything for Messi, you know. So, and also I think also the good thing with Argentina is they knew their strength, which is Messi. So there was like, okay, if we could just like do the dirty work, and then give him that space to do his brilliance, and just like let him conserve all his energy.
Okay.
Toward to doing something when we have the ball, then yeah, we can make something can happen. We have a chance.
Okay.
And, yeah, that's.
There's also another component of the game that is usually a very big talking point is refereeing, because there have been interesting observations from some people saying, oh, they felt like there was some level of bias to some extent. How do you, of course, as a professional player, how do you address that? How do you ensure that if you agree, because it's about 50-50 calls in some instances, because they say referee's decision is final. Some would say the referee's confusion is final.
Yeah. So yeah, like as a player, when I go to the game, you just have to focus on what you can control, focus on what you can, because like you said, the referee's decision is final. So if before the game you're being worried, you preoccupy your mind and you waste all your energy focusing on what the referee might do or what he might not do or what he or she might not do, then I think that's the wrong focus, you know, because there's nothing you can do about his decision. There's nothing you can do about the ref's decision. So yeah, just that's what I've been doing when I was playing. Just try to focus on what you can control. But of course, sometimes you can lose your head.
What do you think about because when you're at your prime, VAR was a foreign concept. Yeah. It's come a lot in the last few. What do you think about VAR and the semi-automated offsides?
The semi-automated offside, I haven't thought about it so much, but VAR, I'm not a fan of VAR.
But why?
It just ruins the game, you know. It takes away like, for example, Messi's goal, you know, like the third goal for Argentina. It's a World Cup final, you know. Messi scores, he doesn't go 100% because he thinks it's offside, might not be offside, you know.
Has the ball crossed the line? Has it crossed the line?
Yeah, so okay, the goal line technology is there, so the referee pointed directly to the center of the pitch for the indicated a goal, but then the players are like, yeah, it might be offside. The lineman, because the lineman was up with the flag, it might be offside, might not be offside, and then you still see that there's mistakes being made, there's controversy, so all this chaos, but still the game is as it was in terms of decisions and referee making mistakes. So for me, I just think it's a waste. It's a complete waste of time.
Who's your goalkeeper of the tournament?
Bono.
Why?
Clean sheets. He's made so many clean sheets. He was calm. I liked his calmness, and you know, he just made the whole Moroccan defense calm. Yeah, the man was like it was like he had ice in his veins, and then he made big saves. Not so many big saves, but he made big saves when needed.
Actually, I was going to ask you that. So which one is it? Is it the clean sheets or is it the guy who makes the big saves, the many saves. In this case, I'm talking about Livakovic, for example, from Croatia, made the highest number of saves ever made at a knockout game in the World Cup. Which one works for you as a goalkeeper? Which one do you look at with more pride, the clean sheet or when you're able to make this many number of saves in a game?
I would say both, but then how do you make them, or when do you make them? Like for example, I said Bono, he made big saves, not so many as Livakovic, but he made those big saves. But there was like when it was really needed, you know, and I know not only in one game, but it was like match deciding saves. Maybe I might be thinking with the heart because it's an African goalkeeper, but that's
Right, let's shift attention briefly, but that's just a sense of what transpired in Qatar, just doing an overview of the final of the 22 FIFA World Cup and just of the key talking points from Qatar. Well, we can continue our focus on the discussion. Of course, before we head on to somewhere else, let's take a look at another brand that, of course, has been supporting sport in totality, and that is Visa.
Yes, Bernard, it's holiday season, like you said. It's time for you to, and Kenyans during holiday season, we forget about everything else and we have fun, we spend money, and then in January we worry about what we did with the money. So if you want to spend and if you want to make sure you're getting your gifts, you're getting by, you're having your meals, you're going out, you're doing all that, there's only one way to go. That's with Visa card. And like we said, you know what? COVID taught us we've got to be careful about contact. So they've got this contactless Visa card, which means all you have to do is you tap it and you go away. There's not a lot of contact. You do it as you go on. It's zero charges, so you don't have to worry too much about how much the bill is running behind the bill. All you have to know is you want to go, you want to use it anywhere, whether you want to use it at a restaurant or at a shop, or whether you are on your way en route somewhere else, whether you want to fuel, contactless Visa card. Yes.
Restaurants, fueling, clothes, everything. Tap
yeah,
and go.
You tap and go, you tap and go. We'll worry about the bill in January.
Okay.
Yeah, mid-January.
Now, of course, set a timer, and just before we take our break, of course, we're just giving a sense of what has been transpiring in the 2022 World Cup, and that wraps up just for that.
Destination Qatar in association with Samsung.
Right, I'd set a timer here on my Samsung Tab 8, and it shows us that it is halftime. So we'll take a very short break, and we'll be back with much more. Right, welcome back to the show. Glad you're still with us now. Of course, we had asked in the beginning of the show in regards to Lionel Messi. There's been a very, very big debate regarding whether he's the greatest of all time. And we asked you a very simple question. Has Lionel Messi's World Cup victory settled, finally, the greatest of all time debate? Well, the feedback is in, Wakabi, fast and furious. I'm always be surprised, of course, if the sentiments are in regards to comparison to another fellow called Cristiano Ronaldo. This one says Mbappe is the man, period. Samantha Wanjiro. Interesting. We have, as I told you, somebody talked about CR7.
Yes. Yeah, and saying he remains a GOAT. I like the fact that because, the last decade has really been between the two of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And I think that's why, even now when you ask, everyone keeps on saying CR7 is here, CR7 is here. And like you're saying, it's very split out because
yes.
that's Onyango saying, Messi is the GOAT. And if you scroll down our timeline, it's been all about who's the GOAT, who's not the GOAT. Messi is the real GOAT.
As expected, John Kamau, CR7 remains the greatest player of all time. Almost had an interesting slip of the tongue there.
And then there was no debate. CR7 is the GOAT. If you hate CR7, you hate football. It's very interesting how these conclusions come about. And I have a feeling part of it has got to see without penalties. No, it's almost like penalties are not part of the game. And I feel as if part of it depends on how many people watch the EPL, vis-a-vis how many people have watched La Liga, vis-a-vis the EPL, which one makes you more popular. But you know what? We will ask the Kenyan legend before he leaves what he thinks. That's Vinny Cheriot. Interesting name. Saying even before winning the World Cup, Messi was the GOAT. So the opinion is split right down the middle, which is almost similar to what happened back in the days between Pele and Maradona. There was always questions.
I've seen somebody there just asking a very interesting question. He says, why not compare Vincent Abubakar and Cristiano Ronaldo? I think Vincent Abubakar, did they award the goal of the tournament? Is there anything like that?
No, I haven't seen it, but a lot of people have spoken about it being one of the goals of the tournament. Yes, that the scoop being one of the goals of the tournament. I don't think. I think
really.
No. My goal of the tournament. The scoop looks too village for me, but that's just me. If I was to pick goal of the tournament, my goal of the tournament would be either Richarlison's kick in the opening game, the swivel and the scissor kick.
I think it's called 2.
Or the Argentine goal to make it 2-0. It was beautiful counter-attacking
yes,
football.
that was a good goal.
Just one touch, and just the way the ball moved. For me, it was really, really beautiful. But yeah, kudos to Abubakar. Maybe the best African goal.
Okay, right. So the FIFA World Cup in Qatar is done. So the mantle has been handed over to the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And our very own Elias Makori, of course, he's in the United States. Of course, he was there for other reasons. He'll be telling us shortly. The baton, to some extent, has been handed to North America. Let's listen to what he's experienced there in the United States.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, James. I'm right here at the LA airport, about to catch my flight to Salt Lake City. Been here for a couple of weeks. I came in for the Honolulu Marathon, decided to spend a little bit more time just to look around at the preparations for 2026. Of course, the FIFA World Cup coming to the US. To be jointly hosted by the US, Canada and Mexico. Promises to be an exciting tournament. Of course, it will be a very, very challenging tournament in terms of logistics, moving in between US, Canada and Mexico for the fans, for the media, so it will need a big budget and very good planning. Of course, everybody waiting to see how the qualifiers go, which countries qualify. A bigger World Cup, 9 African countries, so yeah, it's going to be a big festival here. And again, right here, Los Angeles, host of the 1984 Olympic Games, if you recall. Very good host, where we had great performances. People like Nawal Motuakil, people like, Sepko, doing wonders in the middle distance races. Very popular sporting venue, home of the LA Lakers, of course, LeBron James and company. So it's a city with a sporting tradition, and looking forward to hosting the FIFA World Cup. And again, the 2028 Olympic Games will be right here in Los Angeles. So a lot of focus will be coming right here to the US, and I believe it's going to be an exciting next few years for sporting, for the sporting fraternity, if I may say. So that's it from here. Thank you, James. Thank you, Bernard. A bit of crazy, here at the airport, holiday travel, lots of flight changes.
Well, that's our very own Nation Media Group sports managing editor, Elias Makori, in transit. I understand he was headed to Paris, then hopefully he'll be back home in the next 24 hours or so. He told me it was quite chaotic there at the airport, but he was still able to give us an update regarding the 2026 World Cup. Los Angeles, Wakabi, will be one of the host cities. The United States has about 11.
I saw the cities, and I think there are too many for my liking. Maybe Qatar spoiled us because all the venues are within 50K of each other. But then the US is a big country, and it's not just the US. It's the US and it's Canada with 2 venues, and I think Mexico has 3 venues. Monterrey, I can't remember the other 2. Mexico City, and I think there's one more. I know it will be 48 teams, but I feel like the venues are too many. That brings them 11 plus 3 plus 2. It's 16 venues.
It will be an interesting arrangement. I think also the big headache that FIFA has currently is whether to have 12 groups of 4 teams each, or have what is the other?
16 groups of 3 teams each. I think the 12 of 4 makes sense. 12 groups of 4 teams each, so that you can have the last group games both played at the same time. Makes it easier for you to do the maths. And then we see, but I'm still not convinced with a 48-team World Cup, not at all.
If God willing, I'll be traveling to the United States. I think one thing I'll make sure that I carry with me is the Galaxy Watch 5. Something at least I'm able to monitor my sleeping patterns, because your sleeping cycles are usually affected, especially when you travel a lot.
Yes, it's a fantastic tool for you to figure out how healthy you are living. Okay, so how much do you sleep deeply? How much of it is light sleep? Are you able to sleep properly? Are you able to get enough rest? Are you able to get enough exercise into your body throughout the day? Are you able to, how much do you walk? How many steps do you take? If you run, where do you run? How long do you run? As you're running, it monitors your heart rate. When is it at its highest? When does it drop? When are you putting the most effort? When are you cheating, for the lack of a better word? So it just gives you those tiny little details. So for example, if I'm at city and I tell you, you know what, today I ran for 5K, you can look at me and say, let's look at the watch, and it will show you. Yeah, it show you, at this point, James probably walked 3 of the 5 kilometers. So it's really, really important in you learning how to exercise, how to develop healthier habits, because we are in a generation where living healthy is so important. So you need a gadget that lets you know, how do you do this? How do you plan your every single day? And I think the Watch 5 Pro, it's fantastic. It even shows you the small map of where I tried to jog around the whole morning. It's really, really, really cool.
Right.
Must have gadget.
Must have indeed.
I wonder whether Arnold has one, though he probably doesn't need one. He's too fit.
Arnold, we've been talking extensively about the World Cup, but let's learn more about what you've been doing yourself. You've been involved a lot in, you touched on it briefly when you say that you're considering coaching.
Yeah.
Is it obviously you're doing something close to that, but is it on a formal capacity, or what's the arrangement for you?
Yeah, like I said, it came to a point, especially this year, because I was still planning to play. But then, you're 38, and then you make one phone call to this club, and they say like, Arnold, we know you're a good goalkeeper, but now we're looking for someone who's young, or we're looking for this, or this, or this, or this. And then I was like, okay, now it's enough. I've had enough of being told that I'm old. So let me, because like then if you make that transition and say, okay, now let me transition into coaching, then you become a talent, and you become more of someone who's wanted. So I did that, then made a few inquiries, and all of a sudden had like 4, 5, 6 offers to come and do something. Some of them were too big that I got scared. So I was like, I need to start somewhere. So worked in Norway. Then I had this idea because I have a passion for Kenya, I have a passion for Africa, and yeah, I've decided that after playing, I'm going to be a coach. That's what I want to do, and I want to achieve more than what I achieved as a player, as a coach. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere, and my passion is in Kenya. I see there's a lot of luck especially when it comes to youth development in terms of the professionalism, the quality, both the facility and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, yeah, let me go home, let me start something that can sustain itself, but at the same time give opportunities to every kid, rich, poor. Every kid has an opportunity. So started something like, let's say like Starer, because yeah, there's the need because there's a need for proper football service in Kenya. So there's people who can pay, and there's people who cannot pay. So yeah, we accommodate both, because also that's what they do in Europe, because like you have to pay like a fee every year or something. So if those who can pay, if they can pay and buy the services, then we can also have the opportunity to accommodate those who cannot pay, so that it can be a level playing field for each and every kid that wants to play football in Kenya.
I'll ask you 2 questions. I'm assuming you've gotten the certification right now for the coaching. Yeah. And also just give us an idea of the structure of what you're doing exactly. Is it a certain age group that you're targeting specifically, and why, and where is it happening?
At the moment, if I start where it's happening, it's called Africheza Sports at first. So it's happening at the Ojol Community Center, because first of all, Ojol, because we have a proper pitch. Because like I say, I always say to people, there's no you can make a proper meal with a pot that has home. Yeah, I always pick on guy because for him to boka. So for you to there's no you can develop talent like a young football player who has the right intensity, a good first touch, can play a proper pass on a pitch that's wobbly, that can play football on 1 and 2 touches on a pitch that's bumpy. So that has to be the foundation, has to be a proper pitch and that we managed to get that at Oshol. And then the age group we've just started, so I know we are going to grow, but we have like a multi-sport where like it's kids from 5 years downwards, where like they get to learn coordination, balance, confidence, and all those kind of stuff. And then there's the academy level, where like now they start to learn the basics of football, like the passing, the fast touch, playing and moving. And then there's the elite academy level. Now we are talking players from 10, 11 to the age of 14. But you can be, if you're good, if you're 9, you can go to the academy level. So now we start to increase the demands, you know, like awareness, you know, what you like, scanning most of the, like, know what you're gonna do, have a picture of what's happening around you before you get the ball, just for example. And then there's the elite, now the demands, where we use like the heart rate monitors, because there's so many kids.
So there's technology as well.
Yeah, we have like heart rate monitors, because there's a kid who will say like, I want to play in Arsenal. Okay, you want to play in Arsenal, but you need to know that even in Arsenal, in the academy itself, they have kids who are working for that position that you want to play at. So, okay, like just like, for example, what the watch does, your work rate, the intensity of how you're working. So you're like, okay, you are, and the elite is 14 and above, but you can be 12 and still be at the elite academy level, because like now, like the under 17, but you have a kid who's 12. But then we tell them like, okay, these are the numbers of a kid in the Arsenal academy, in the Chelsea or whatever academy. These are the numbers. These are your numbers. So you need to know, if you're gonna go there, then you need to beat these numbers. So every day is a process. It's a process. Because it's about time that you know, we get serious about, especially youth development and player development. So get the professionalism, get the quality of coaching. You know, like, we have a coach. I'm a coach. I'm a UFAB licensed coach. So, and that's like, now I can coach. I can coach second division side in Norway, or second division. I can be an assistant coach in Norway. So it means that like, you come to our academy, or a kid that comes to the setup gets proper coaching. We have a psychologist, and then we have also another coach who's grassroots FA, the English FA, grassroots qualified coach. So we just give quality, and you know, work with something that, you know, we like has the potential of having an end product, and not just doing things for the sake of doing it.
What is needed to, you went through the only, then, I won't say now there are many other academies, but then the only proper football system. You're a MISA product. How much work is needed to produce a goalkeeper, to get a player out to a level of they can turn pro?
A lot, especially in Kenya, a lot. I went to the then considered one of the best youth academies in Kenya, but then I went to Norway when I was 21. So age-wise, I was 21, but football-wise, goalkeeping-wise, I was 16. So I was 16. I remember my first year in Moss. I played, and then there was big clubs in Norway, Rosenborg and Vålerenga. They wanted a fastest goalkeeper, and they was like, we see you, but you're not yet ready to be fastest goalkeeper at this level. But then they go and sign an 18-year-old, and I was 21. So that says a lot. You know, for me, the feedback was, you're not yet ready to be goalkeeper at this level, and I was 21. But then they go and sign an 18-year-old, and he becomes number 1.
So the development-wise, we are way behind. So we need to catch up. There's a lot of catching up.
And if I look back, it was like, if then I stayed in Norway and I saw how the goalkeepers are developed. I made my professional debut in Norway when I was 29, and that's quite late. That's extremely late. That's when I made my first professional debut in Norway for Lillestrøm.
What do you mean? What do you mean professional at 20? Because you left at 21.
Okay, Okay, no,
or the top flight?
Yeah, top flight.
Yeah.
So top flight.
Ah.
I made my debut at top flight when I was 29. I was playing second, like I was playing the nationwide.
Yes, no, I get you now.
Yeah, I was playing the nationwide, but then I made the top league, the top league in Norway. I made my debut when I was 29. So, but then I looked at what we did, or how I trained, or what we needed to work with until I got there. These are things that I would have worked with when I was 13, 14, 12. If I did that when I was 13, then I would have been there when I was 19, 21. Yeah. So there's a lot that needs to be done. From there, like I am from the east side of Nairobi. I born in Ziwani, raised in Dandora. The coaches were there willingly. They want to do it, but they lack the proper training. Like, you know, this is offered for free, or like clubs would cater for that. So the coaches who coached me, that's what they knew, and that was just like throwing the ball, so you jump left, right, and center. So that's what they knew. Helped me because I was agile. I was like a cat, and that's what I was called, like a panther in Norway. But then, like, there were so many things like short stopping, you know, crosses, positioning, when to go out, when to stay in. Like, you know, I was all over the place because I didn't have this. The only thing I knew was to dive. So, but then there's the academies from the other side of Nairobi, the west side of Nairobi. But then this is just business. Okay. Yeah, this is just business because, yeah, I've had kids, honestly, with all due respect to all the academies. I have kids who have come to our setup, and they've been in these so-called academies for over. There was one kid I saw. First time I saw him at 12. I immediately went to the parents. I made like a guest appearance. The kid reminded me of Jamal Mohammed, and that was like, this kid. And then I was like, you guys, you want to tell me that parents, like kids born from the privileged side of Nairobi, cannot play football? And when I see this kid, I see one of the best midfielders that has ever played for the national team of Kenya.
How old is he?
He was 12. Now he's 16. There's no development, but he's been going to an academy, and that tells me that, okay, not all of them, but most of them.
That's a very good point.
It's just business.
That's a very good point that you're raising, because yes, there are, as even Wakabi alluded to the fact that there have been so many academies that have mushroomed, but how do we mainstream it and ensure there's a level of standard that is almost the same? Of course, I know it's business, but how do you standardize? Because I'm sure you're aware that the Kenyan government has ambitious plans for us to qualify for Kenya to qualify for the 2030 World Cup. They also want to introduce, they're planning to introduce an under 19 kind of setup for the grassroots level. What are the, perhaps in your honest opinion, the 4 key things that they need to look at as they plan this ambitious plan?
Of course, like as a person, as an individual, yeah, you might have passion for football, passion for sports. Like, for example, the owners of Manchester City, they have no background about football, but it's just a passion. So they pumping money, initial investment at Man City, but then they start putting the right people, like, you know, like the former sport director of Barcelona, you know,
Trixie.
Yeah, all of that. Even Paris Saint-Germain, you know, like at some point it was Clivert. So someone it should be allowed, because at the end of the day, also, like, the best, like we all know, the best thing to do is doing what you love. So if someone is passionate about sports, about football, yeah, you can set up an academy. But then I think maybe the government or the federation needs to check the kind of coaches that are being hired in these academies. You know, who's operating,
so the coaches in
there has to be regulation. Yeah, because, like, you know, or there has to be a demand for the owner of the academy to hire certain kind of people, or provide pay for education for the coaches who are there. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, and hopefully we can see, because you said the youngest is 5, your oldest are 16.
Yeah, the oldest is 16, and you know, it's from like, now we have 10 kids, just because of logistics that are from Babadogo and Dandora. It was a coincidence because Dandora is my hometown, so it wasn't.
Dandora is your hood.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. It was just like a coincidence, and it just like sat properly because yeah, these kids have to go to school again. The school system is not set up that we can have kids. It can be a logistical nightmare, but with time, I think it just aligned well and just gave us an idea of how to go about it. It's much easier because we provide transport, so it's much easier to have them. And have them being transported to the training ground, and then after that taken back home. So much easier, especially on a weekdays because we train 4 times a week.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Arnold, thank you so much. We loved you. I think we wish we had more time to get your insights regarding how we can take Kenyan football to the next level. Wakabi, you can feel the passion and enthusiasm.
And the chasm, like the difference. You can't leave Kenya at 21, then you'll be told you're 14.
Right.
I think that's something you have to change. You've got to close this gap.
Yes.
It's too big.
It's massive. Now, let's take a look at the shot of the weekend. Obviously, it's something that is connected to the 2022 World Cup. We shifted gears this time around and we focused on what transpired at the World Cup. And these images, we decided to select 2 of them. We'll be having them shortly on your screen. We'll be showing you first. This is the first image, Wakabi. This is a French player, Benjamin Pavard, the defender. As he was passing, of course, to receive the runners-up medal, he decided, "Wacha niguze tu."
I think it's a case of what might have been.
Yes.
You know what? Because at 60 minutes, you have no chance. At 70 minutes, you have no chance.
Yeah.
But at 97 minutes, you're right in the game.
Yeah.
And then you lose it on penalties. And then he's had a terrible World Cup because he played just the one game. And then he was in such bad form that he was dropped. So I think it was just a case of everything else, what might have been throughout the tournament. Yeah.
Definitely, what might have been. And those are the same sentiments that are being shared by his teammate. Now, this is the next image. It's connected to the other one to some extent, but you can feel how Mbappe felt in this particular image. Kylian Mbappe, he did everything. He won the golden boot, but you could tell that
look, he did absolutely everything you'd want the young man
hat-trick
to do.
In the final.
He's turning 24 when? This week?
Yes.
I think he's turning 24 this
Yes.
week. You score a hat-trick in the final, only the second time in history you've scored 8 goals in a World Cup final.
Yes.
The second Frenchman to do it. And despite your best efforts, you fall just short. And you know, at the end of I think later on maybe you can sit back and say, you know, second wasn't bad. But in that moment you're thinking, what more could I have done?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now
let's focus on another Samsung product, and the thing is, like, of course, I've been talking about this often, and the fact that the earbuds are very, very functional and versatile, especially if you're training, if you're a fitness buff like myself, Wakabi.
Yeah, the Galaxy Buds are something different and something interesting because I mean, we are no longer in the age of cables. People don't want wires all over them. And then they are smart. Like, they are smart tuned. They're able to figure out what are you doing and be able to change the environment. Like I said, if a phone call comes in and you're listening to music, we know what to do. If we need you to have a feel of the environment around you, it's got that ability to switch and make sure that everything works properly. Like, it's able to control the ambience really cool. And again, you can charge it, and the pouch in which they come in, let me call it a pouch because I'm not sure what to call it. I have it here with me. Yes. Where it comes, it can also be, it's also like a power bank. So once you put them in there, you can also charge it when you're in there. And when you're listening to, when you're making a phone call with them, there's no interruption, there's no wind, there's no nothing. You're just, it's almost like a surround system in your ear. I don't know whether that's the right word to use it, yeah? Yeah. It's almost like a surround system in your ear, and I think that's really, I like the black ones. Cool.
Black ones, I think, suit my style.
Black is always, you know, black is classy.
It's classy, yeah.
Black is classy.
And chic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about chic, but it's classy.
Like this one, I like the fact that the surface it doesn't get smudged or anything
like
that.
and all scratched and
stuff.
Yes. Yeah, but it's really, really, really cool. Like I told you, this is one thing where I've had to learn how it is used because I'm an old man. But yes, the ease of use with them, I think, is what makes them stand out. Like, you're able to do a variety of things with them.
Finally, let's go on the timeline. Let's see what the discussion has been on the web, Twitter. Obviously, in the past 1 month has been all about the World Cup, and in the past 24 hours has been all about this particular moment yesterday. Arnold, how do you feel about such an image, especially the parallels? Lionel Messi on one side, Maradona on the other side.
It's iconic. It's iconic. It's a picture that I could sit here for like hours and just like look at the picture. It says so many stuff, tells you so many things. It's inspiring. You know, it's an iconic picture.
Iconic.
Iconic picture.
And just the way they are similar, like
Yes.
they are taken 36
I wonder
years
if they
apart.
planned for it.
But I think
But-
it's intentional. It's
Yeah.
intentional.
But like
The Aguero was
yeah,
carrying-
the I think the Argentinian the Argentine team, yeah, they would do it. They wanted to do it.
They wanted to do it
Yeah,
exactly
to
like
do it,
that.
yeah.
Because, and then to have Aguero, just to
Yeah.
have Aguero carrying Messi, I think it's also something significant.
Something special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at another sentiment here on social media, and this was a tweet by the boss of Google, Sundar Pichai, and he says, "Search recorded highest ever traffic in 25 years. The entire world was searching about one thing."
The entire world was watching. And if you want to know why the entire world was watching, look at the number of elite sportsmen and women who don't play football,
I saw
who
Serena
don't
Williams
necessarily
as
like
well
football.
tweeting, yeah.
Serena Williams tweeted, Coco Gauff tweeted, Michael Sherry tweeted, and they're all saying, oh, so this is how it feels when other people come to watch our sports,
Yes.
and then they become experts in it, because we are now have become experts. I think this World Cup, because it's the first social media World Cup, so to speak. It's the first World Cup that was almost purely run on social media, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram. And the whole world sort of got involved in wanting to know what's going on and why it's going on.
Right, and we have another image here on the timeline. Obviously, it's been dominated by the final that we watched yesterday, that epic final. Top left, Maradona. Top right, Pele.
That's funny. That's the funniest of all of them today.
Bottom left. But let's not water down, pun intended, on the achievements that Cristiano Ronaldo has been able to achieve in his career as well. But I think it's a special moment for Argentina, their third trophy. Pele has carried it 3 times.
Yes.
He's kissed it 3 times.
Yes. When we talk about the greatest of all time, I think it's the first 3 guys you've seen there. I think they're the ones who are in that conversation. I know Arnold has a slightly different look to the whole of it, because I was asking him, Messi, Cristiano, what do you think? And he says maybe Cristiano just doesn't get as good attention as Messi gets.
Yeah, I think it's also like something of a culture. You know, the European culture is like everybody's equal. But if you look like Argentina, from day one, there was like, you know, even if you listen to the players' interviews, like we are going to win this World Cup for Messi, not even for Argentina, for Messi, because he has to do it. So they were, but you know, Portugal or Europe was like, yeah, he's not doing so. When Portugal needed Cristiano, he was there for them, and he clutched them a number of times. But when he needed Portugal, Portugal turned his back on him.
Portugal moved on.
Played him as a sub in many of their matches as a starting substitute. Now, once again, I'm sorry, you'll just see a lot about Argentina. The next tweet again, you guessed it, it's about Argentina. So let's take a look at what people are saying regarding Argentina and their performance in the final. That's the changing room. I'm sure you're celebrating. We can see Messi leading the celebrations. And this looks like it was Instagram.
Yeah, this was
an Instagram,
yeah, well,
an Insta Live.
I think it was Dybala's or Aguero's live.
You see what I was saying about social media. Now, back in the days, you would never see Arnold and Co celebrate like this. We would never see anything of what happens in the dressing room. But now, you've got Aguero doing the Instagram, you've got Dybala. There was one of Otamendi as well, where Emi Martinez was leading the chant around the dressing room. Then they all pose something about Mbappe, they take, and then they continue. It's just, social media has changed everything in how we see these things. And I think there was one, I'm sure you saw it, where the Argentine player jumps into a dustbin.
Yes.
Yeah, those things were all happening.
What if you break your neck like that?
Yeah, like all those things
crazy.
are happening in the dressing room, but now because of social media, players can share them, and we can get to understand how they feel.
The emotions.
Yeah.
The emotions and the celebrations, because normally we never see them. But I think it's fantastic. And you know, I think Argentines, just for the tears they shed during games, I think they deserve it.
Let's have the last one here. Let's see what you were saying online regarding the World Cup. And this one, let me give a clarity on what this happened. I know if you're a wrestling fan, the gentleman, of course, who is strangling the other player is Undertaker, and that is Randy Orton. So this was drawing parallels to what Mbappe did. Of course, Argentina could be the gentleman who is being strangled there. And of course, Argentina were leading at that particular point. But France came
So
back.
they were coming to confirm.
Yes, France came back. Walikuja na ubaya, and that was Mbappe.
Well, actually, the video actually speaks
Yes.
exactly translates how the game was.
Yes.
Because like if you look at the way Argentina started to play, they started controlling the game, and the fans were like, ole, ole. So it's like, yeah, Argentina was coming to look as France, are you dead yet? But then, no,
Yes.
we aren't dead.
Well, it was an interesting World Cup nonetheless. It's done and dusted. We look forward to 2026. Wakabi, as we've said, 16 cities will be hosting, which is a lot.
3 countries.
3
16
countries.
cities,
Let's see how that pans out. But once again, thank you so much, Arnold, for joining us this evening and coming to, of course, share your sentiments regarding the World Cup and what you're doing to grow the game. Thank you so much. From the entire team who made the broadcast possible, behind the scenes, we thank you and have a good night and hope to see you again soon.